When my mother sided with her boyfriend and told me to leave my home, my heart broke. They didn't realize I wasn't just going to leave. I was going to use the law, his own secrets, and my name on the deed to dismantle their entire world. My name is Alex, I'm 24, and for the last year I've been living the quiet life. After my grandmother passed, she left me her pride and joy. A modest, three-bedroom house nestled in a quiet suburban neighborhood. It's not a mansion, but it's mine. It's the house my dad grew up in, filled with memories. After my dad passed away 2 years ago, my mom, Sarah, was adrift. Selling our family home was too painful, so I offered her the spare room here. It was a no-brainer. We could support each other. And for a while, it worked. The house was quiet, a place for us to heal. Then, about 8 months ago, Marcus entered the picture. Marcus. Even his name sounds like a cheap cologne. He's in his late 40s, with teeth too white to be real, and a wardrobe full of linen shirts. He calls himself a mindset coach and investment guru, which is a fancy way of saying he's unemployed. Mom met him at a grief support seminar, and he latched onto her like a barnacle. He was charming, I'll give him that. He said all the right things, quoted all the right self-help books, and within a month he had practically moved in, bringing his 17-year-old son, Dylan, with him. Dylan is the human embodiment of an eye roll. He's entitled, lazy, and walks around my house like he's the one paying the mortgage. He leaves a trail of dirty dishes, loud music, and teenage angst wherever he goes. The small annoyances started piling up almost immediately. First, my grandmother's antique coffee table was replaced with a sterile glass and chrome monstrosity because Marcus claimed it was blocking the flow of financial energy. Then my office, where I work remotely as a software developer, was constantly being invaded. Dylan would just walk in without knocking to grab a charger, or Marcus would borrow my noise-canceling headphones for his meditation sessions. My mom, bless her heart, was completely under his spell. Every time I tried to bring up an issue, she'd shut me down.
Oh, Alex, you're just not used to having masculine energy in the house again. Marcus is just trying to make this place feel like a home for all of us.
A home for all of us. Right? My home. The boiling point came last Tuesday. Marcus called what he ceremoniously dubbed a family vision meeting. We all sat in the living room, my grandmother's reupholstered couch feeling alien under his presence. He had a whiteboard, for God's sake.
All right, team, as we move forward into a new season of prosperity, we need to optimize our living space for peak performance. Dylan is about to start his senior year, and he needs a dedicated study and creative space, free from distractions. And my consulting business is taking off. I'm getting clients from all over the world, and I need a professional setting for my video calls.
He paused for dramatic effect, looking at my mom, who was beaming at him like he'd just discovered fire. Then he turned his gaze to me.
Alex, my man, you've had a good run here. It's been great having a roof over your head while you get on your feet. But it's time to fledge. Time to leave the nest and start your own journey. We've already found a couple of great studio apartments downtown that would be perfect for you.
I just stared at him. He was saying this in my living room, in the house that I own. He wasn't asking me, he was telling me. It was a done deal in his mind. I looked at my mom, expecting her to leap to my defense to laugh this off as a ridiculous joke. But she just nodded along, a sad, placating smile on her face.
Honey, he's right. You're 24 now. It's for the best. It'll give you a push, and it would really help Marcus and Dylan to have the extra space.
My blood ran cold. The sense of betrayal was a physical thing, a heavy weight in my chest. I felt like a stranger in my own home. For a full minute, I was just silent, letting their words hang in the air. I saw the smug, triumphant look on Marcus's face and the entitlement in Dylan's smirk. They thought they had won. They thought I was a pushover, a kid they could just discard. They fundamentally misunderstood the situation. Finally, I took a slow, deep breath.
So, when were you thinking I should be out by? The end of the month?
I asked him, my voice dangerously calm.
The sooner the better. A clean break is always best for a fresh start.
He replied, oozing false sincerity.
Okay, there's just one small problem with your plan.
I stood up and walked over to the bookshelf where I keep important documents. I pulled out a thick binder and opened it on the coffee table. I slid a document across the glass surface toward him. The deed to the house, with my name on it, as the sole owner.
You seem to be under the impression that you are kicking me out of your house. But you're not my stepfather, Marcus. You're my tenant. And so are you, Mom, my non-paying tenants. And you have an unauthorized guest living here.
I said, looking directly at Dylan.
So let's talk about a timeline. But not for me moving out. For you, how much time do you think you'll need?
The silence that followed was the most satisfying sound I have ever heard. That was a week ago. The atmosphere here is, well, you can imagine. My mom is crying constantly, and Marcus looks at me like he wants to murder me. But I haven't made a move yet. Part of me is just so hurt by my mom, and another part of me knows this is just the first step. What do you think, Reddit? Am I the jerk here? What should my next move be? Hey everyone, thanks for watching the story so far. It's been a crazy week and I honestly don't know what to do next. If you want to see how this plays out, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. And please, drop a comment below and let me know what your first piece of advice would be. I could really use it right now. Thank you to everyone who commented on my first post. Reading through your advice and support was a massive help. A lot of you said the same thing: lawyer up, document everything, and protect myself. And you were right. The night I dropped the bomb about owning the house was only the beginning. The Zen master facade Marcus had built so carefully didn't just crack, it exploded. The moment the shock wore off, the rage set in. He stood up, his face turning a blotchy red.
You ungrateful little brat. After everything I've done to bring positive energy into this family, we took you in. You took me in, you took me in. This is my house, my grandmother's house.
I shot back, my own voice rising for the first time. My mom just sat there sobbing.
Please, you two, don't do this. Alex, Marcus didn't mean it like that. We're a family. No, we're not a family. We are a homeowner and his two tenants who have just tried to illegally evict him.
The words sounded harsh, even to me, but they were the truth. The battle lines had been drawn. The next few days were a masterclass in psychological warfare. Marcus swung between two tactics. The first was aggressive intimidation. He'd accidentally bump into me in the hallway. He'd stand behind me while I was making coffee, just silently watching. Dylan took his cues from his father, leaving his dirty gym socks on my pillow and forgetting to flush the toilet. His second tactic was even more insidious: gaslighting my mother. He'd hold her while she cried, whispering things just loud enough for me to hear.
He's trying to drive a wedge between us, Sarah. He's always been jealous of our connection. He's just a confused kid acting out. He doesn't really own this place. He's just saying that to hurt us.
That was the line that spurred me into action. The idea that he was trying to convince my mom that I was lying about the one piece of leverage I had was terrifying. I knew I couldn't handle this alone. I took the advice from the comments and found a local lawyer who specialized in property and tenant law. I took a half-day off work and went to his office, bringing the deed, my grandmother's will, and property tax receipts, all in my name. The lawyer, a no-nonsense man named Mr. Davis, listened to the whole story without interruption. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair.
Well, son, the good news is you are on incredibly solid ground. The house is unequivocally yours. The bad news is, because your mother has been living here for over a year, she has established tenancy, even without a lease. By extension, her partner could also claim tenancy. You can't just change the locks.
My heart sank.
But
He continued.
you absolutely have the right to terminate that tenancy. We'll need to serve them with an official, written notice to vacate. 30 days is the standard. If they are not gone by the end of that period, we can begin formal eviction proceedings. It's a clean legal process. No room for emotion or he said, she said.
He also gave me another crucial piece of advice: install security cameras, at least at the entrances and in the common areas. He said that in situations like this, when a manipulator feels their control slipping, they can become unpredictable. Accusations of theft or damage are common. I left his office with a clear plan and a strange sense of calm. The emotional turmoil was still there, but now I had a logical, legal path to follow. That afternoon, I bought a few discrete security cameras online with next-day delivery. The tension in the house is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Marcus is now giving me the silent treatment, but it's a loud silence. He's planning something. I can feel it. My mom keeps trying to talk to me, to work things out, but her idea of working things out is me apologizing to Marcus. I told her that the time for talking is over and that a formal notice will be arriving soon. She didn't take it well. I'm sleeping with my bedroom door locked. So, here's my question for you all this time. Marcus is clearly trying to manipulate my mom into believing I'm the villain here. How do you fight a liar who has the ear of someone you love? What would you do in my shoes? The comments on my last update were a mix of solid legal advice and some seriously eye-opening warnings. Many of you shared stories about manipulators and urged me to dig deeper into Marcus's background. You pointed out that guys like him usually have a pattern. That thought lodged itself in my brain and wouldn't let go. His reaction to being challenged wasn't normal. It wasn't just anger. It was the panic of a cornered animal. What was he so afraid of losing? Just a free place to live? Or was it something more? My security cameras arrived. I installed one overlooking the front door and another in the living room, pointed at the main entrance. I was completely transparent about it. I told my mom and Marcus that due to the current hostile living environment, my lawyer recommended them for everyone's protection. Marcus sneered and said I was being paranoid, but I saw that flash of panic in his eyes again. Checkmate. With the legal process in motion, Mr. Davis was preparing the official notice. I turned my attention to Marcus himself. I started with the basics. His full name was Marcus Thorne. A quick Google search brought up his Mindset Mastery website. It was a sea of stock photos of sunsets, people doing yoga, and Marcus smiling his impossibly white smile. It was all buzzwords and no substance. Testimonials from satisfied clients who had no last names. Red flag number 1. I went deeper. I started searching his name along with keywords like scam, fraud, and lawsuit. At first, nothing major came up. This guy was slippery. But then I found a small news article from a local paper in a different state, dated about 3 years ago. It was about a wellness retreat that had abruptly shut down, leaving dozens of attendees out thousands of dollars. The organizer? Marcus Thorne? The article mentioned he couldn't be reached for comment and had apparently left town. Red flag number 2. This was getting interesting. I remembered one of you mentioning looking for him on court record databases. I spent $20 on a background check service, and that's when the floodgates opened. It turned out Marcus Thorne wasn't even his real name. His birth name was Martin Finch. And Martin Finch had a history, a long one. There were 2 bankruptcies, a series of civil lawsuits from former business partners. But the real gold mine was a public forum for victims of romance scams. I typed in Martin Finch, and my blood turned to ice. There were 3 different threads from 3 different women in 3 different states. The stories were all eerily similar. They'd meet him shortly after a major life trauma, a death, a divorce. He was charming, attentive, and quickly became indispensable. He'd move in. He'd identify their assets, a house, a savings account, an inheritance. Then the business opportunity would appear. A can't-miss investment, a revolutionary wellness product, a high-yield real estate venture. He would drain them of their resources, and when the money was gone, so was he. He never did anything overtly illegal enough to warrant serious jail time, it seemed. It was always a civil matter. He'd manipulate them into gifting him the money or signing contracts that were legally airtight but morally bankrupt. He was a predator who preyed on vulnerable women, and my mother was his next target. The house, my house, was the jackpot. He wasn't just trying to get me out of the way for an office. He was trying to remove the only obstacle to his grand prize. I spent hours printing everything. The news articles, the court filings, the heartbreaking stories from the women on that forum. One woman had lost her family home of 50 years. Another had drained her retirement account. I laid all the papers out on my bed, and a cold, hard anger settled in my gut. This was no longer about a disrespectful house guest. This was about saving my mother from a professional con artist. The official notice to vacate from my lawyer is ready. It will be delivered by a process server tomorrow, but now I have this arsenal of information. My plan has to change. This isn't just about getting him out. It's about making sure my mom sees him for exactly who he is, so he can never, ever hurt her or anyone else again. So, here's my question for you guys this time. I have the legal eviction notice, and I have the proof that this guy is a serial predator. What's the most effective way to use this information? Do I confront them both together? Show my mom first? I have one shot to get this right. How should I play this hand? The advice you guys gave me was invaluable. The overwhelming consensus was to get my mom alone first. Confronting them together would just give Marcus an opportunity to spin the narrative, to play the victim, and to manipulate her in real time. I had to give her the space to process the information without his poisonous influence in her ear. I knew it would be the hardest conversation of my life. The day started with a quiet legal formality. At 10 a.m., a neutral-looking process server rang the doorbell. Marcus answered, a smug look on his face, probably expecting a package. The man simply asked, "Are you Marcus Thorne?" and handed him the envelope. Marcus's face went pale as he read the legal document. The 30-day notice to vacate. He looked up at me, standing at the top of the stairs, and the hatred in his eyes was pure. He crumpled the paper in his fist.
You're going to regret this.
He hissed, before storming out of the house. I knew I had a limited window. Dylan had left for school. It was just me and my mom. I found her in the kitchen, staring into a cold cup of coffee, tears silently streaming down her face. My heart broke for her, but I knew what I had to do. I put the thick stack of printed documents on the table in front of her.
What is this, Alex? More legal papers? Are you suing me too?
Her voice was brittle.
No, Mom. This isn't about the house anymore. This is about the man you're letting live in it. I need you to read this. All of it. Please. Just read it.
I said, my voice softer than I intended. She hesitated, then reluctantly picked up the first page. It was the article about the failed wellness retreat. She read it, then the next page, and the next. I watched as her expression shifted from sadness to confusion, then to dawning horror. She read the court records. She read the forum posts from the other women. I didn't say a word. I just let the evidence speak for itself. The story of Jane from Ohio, who lost her inheritance. The story of Susan from Arizona, who had to sell her house. Women just like her. When she finally looked up at me an hour later, the tears were gone. Her face was a gray, numb mask of shock.
His name is Martin? Yes, his name is Martin Finch.
I replied softly. Right on cue, the front door slammed open. Marcus was back. He must have seen my car in the driveway and realized we were both home. He strode into the kitchen, his face a thunderous mask of fury.
What have you been telling her?
He snarled at me before turning his fake smile on my mom.
Sarah, honey, don't listen to his lies. He's a scared little boy trying to break us up.
My mom just stared at him, then looked down at the papers on the table.
Are you Marcus Thorne or are you Martin Finch?
She asked, her voice barely a whisper. The charm vanished. The mask didn't just slip. He ripped it off himself. He saw the papers on the table and knew the game was up.
So what if my name is Martin? I had to change it to escape my past, to become a new man. This is what he does, Sarah. He digs up dirt to try and control you, just like his father did.
Bringing up my dead father was a low blow, but it was his last desperate card. It didn't work.
These women? Did you take their money?
They invested. They believed in my vision, just like you do, or did before your poison-tongued son turned you against me.
He was yelling now, spit flying from his mouth. He took a step toward my mom, and I instinctively moved between them.
Don't you touch her.
I said, my voice low and steady. I was surprised at my own calmness.
Or what? You'll call your lawyer again? You think you're a big man now, don't you? Hiding behind your dead grandmother's house? You're nothing. You're a pathetic little kid who's going to die alone.
He was completely unhinged. The mindset guru was gone, replaced by a desperate, ugly conman. My mom watched the whole thing, her face ashen. She finally saw him. She saw the real him. She stood up, her hands trembling, and pointed a shaky finger toward the door.
Get out. Get your things and your son and get out of this house. Now.
You have 30 days, legally.
I added, just to twist the knife. He gave me one last look of pure, undiluted venom, then turned and stormed out of the kitchen. We could hear him upstairs, slamming doors and drawers. It's over. The truth is out. But the fallout is just beginning. He still has 30 days here, and I have a feeling he's not going to make them easy. The bomb has officially dropped, and the shrapnel is everywhere. It was uglier and more intense than I ever could have imagined. What do you guys think will happen next? Will he and his son leave peacefully when the time is up? Or is this going to get even worse before it gets better? Let me know your predictions in the comments. The 30 days after the confrontation were the longest month of my life. The house became a Cold War zone. Marcus, or Martin, I guess, and Dylan were ghosts. They were barely there, and when they were silent, communicating only through slammed doors and passive-aggressive notes left on the counter. We're out of milk, again. It was petty and childish. They made a point of being as inconvenient as possible, leaving messes, turning up the thermostat, and parking their car so it blocked me in the driveway. My mom was a wreck. She barely left her room. The guilt and the shame were eating her alive. We had a few halting conversations. She apologized over and over, not just for almost letting me get kicked out, but for letting this man into our lives, for being so blind. I told her it wasn't her fault, that he was a professional manipulator, but I think it will be a long time before she forgives herself. I held my breath for the entire month, waiting for some final, desperate act of retaliation. I backed up all my computer files, put a lock on my office door, and made sure the security cameras were always recording. I half expected to come home to find the place trashed or to face some bogus legal challenge. But nothing happened. His rage had seemingly fizzled out into a pathetic, sulky resentment. He knew he was beaten. On the 30th day, a small U-Haul truck pulled up to the curb. It was almost comical. The self-proclaimed guru of abundance was packing his few belongings into the smallest moving truck you can rent. I watched from the living room window as he and Dylan loaded up boxes of linen shirts, self-help books, and a ridiculous number of healing crystals. My mom stayed in her room, unwilling to watch. When they were finally done, Marcus walked up to the front door and paused. He looked at the camera I had installed, then directly at me through the window. He gave a bitter, humorless smile and then raised his middle finger. And that was it. He got in the truck and drove away. Dylan didn't even look back. The silence they left behind was deafening. The house felt huge, empty. For the first few days, my mom and I moved around each other like ghosts. The trust between us was fractured, and we didn't know how to start fixing it. The healing process began in a small way. A week after they left, I came home from a grocery run to the smell of my dad's favorite recipe, beef lasagna. My mom was in the kitchen, actually cooking for the first time in months. We ate dinner together in silence, but it was a comfortable silence, a starting point. It's been 6 months now. Things aren't perfect, but they're better. My mom is in therapy, and she's slowly getting back to being herself. She's reconnected with old friends and has even started volunteering at the local animal shelter. She's paying me a modest amount for rent now. Her idea, not mine. She said she needs to feel independent again. As for me, I've reclaimed my house. I got rid of that awful glass coffee table and brought my grandmother's back from storage. I repainted the room Marcus had been using, erasing any trace of him. My office is my sanctuary again. The quiet doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels peaceful. It feels like home. I learned a hard lesson about boundaries, about standing up for myself, and about how easily love can be weaponized. I don't know if my relationship with my mom will ever be exactly what it was before, but we're building something new. Something honest. I look around my house, the house my grandmother wanted me to have, and I feel a profound sense of peace. I protected it. I protected my mom. I protected myself. And that's a victory. The flow of energy in this house is finally right. Because it's my energy. Thank you all so much for following this insane journey and for all your incredible advice and support. I read every single comment, and you have no idea how much it helped me stay strong through all of this. It's finally over, and the peace is real. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more like it, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.